Mallikarjun Kharge has launched yet another attack on Prime Minister Modi. Mallikarjun Kharge said, and let me quote, Prime Minister Modi has been making frequent foreign trips for the last 11 years. But when India needed international support to expose Pakistan, no other country came forward to support us. In the last 11 years, Prime Minister Modi has made 151 foreign trips and visited 72 countries. Out of these, he has visited the US 10 times. Yet our country stands alone under the Modi government's foreign policy. Is it the Prime Minister's job to visit foreign countries and only pose for photographs? So day by day, what we've been seeing is that the line of attack coming from the Congress party has only been sharpening and escalating further. And in yet another attack that's been launched by the Congress chief, Mallikarjun Kharge has now questioned what has been the outcome of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's international visits. Pallavi Ghosh joins me live on the broadcast with more inputs on this news story. Pallavi, this is very much in line with Rahul Gandhi's own line of attack, who's been saying that Operation Sindoor has burst the balloon of Prime Minister's image as the Vishwa Guru.
You know, Akanksha, every time the Prime Minister has gone abroad, even otherwise, and when Donald Trump became the American president, one of the first things which was always pointed out by Rahul Gandhi and also by the Congress party was taking pot shots at the Prime Minister, that India does not have the stature which the Prime Minister claims. Now, look at the latest tweet or statement which has been put out by the Congress president. You know, he's actually taunting the government, saying that no one from the world even stood by India. Now, these are, many would say, derogatory statements at a time when India is sending a delegation abroad to every possible country to tell them that how India is one, how India needs their world support. To taunt and take this jibe will certainly not go down well. So it is, many would say it's unfortunate. The BJP is saying the timing is wrong, because at the end of the day, you really have to put forward the national interest first, and the nation should come first. The time for political bickering can always come later. To attack the Prime Minister, calling the External Affairs Minister as Jaichand, to also say that that Jaishankar is a mukhbir, that he did Sindoor ka saudagar, and then attacking the Prime Minister by saying that he never got support from the world is absolutely an insult, according to BJP, not just of the PM, but also for all those people who were an integral part of Operation Sindoor.
Stay with me, Pallavi. I'm also joined in by Harish Upadhyay on the phone line. Harish, take us through the context and the timing when Mallikarjun Kharge made those remarks, because given that he was addressing a Karnataka rally, he's clearly trying to politicize a matter of national security over here, only to gain again brownie points for the Congress party.
Well, absolutely. He was at this rally, which was to celebrate the 2-year completion of Siddaramaiah government in Karnataka. While talking about how Karnataka government has fulfilled its promises and trying to juxtapose it with the achievement or the governance of Narendra Modi government, he slipped into talking about Pahalgam. And that's where he started talking about how the central government had intelligence, did not act upon it. Remember, Karnataka too has suffered. At least 2 of those victims in Pahalgam are from Bangalore. One from Bangalore, one from Shimoga. And you've seen support from people from Karnataka. And what has really irked a lot of people is him going ahead, Mallikarjun Kharge going ahead and calling it a small war. Remember the kind of impact it's had. It's demolished terror hideouts at 9 different places. Multiple air bases of Pakistan has been in a way neutralized to a large extent, their infrastructure there. And we see the support that's come in for now. Mallikarjun Kharge to come out and then call it a small war, in a way dilutes the kind of sacrifices that have happened. Remember, it's not just people living on the LOC and the international border who've suffered because of Pakistan shelling, but also we've lost a few people from the armed forces. They've given up their life, their families and others. And when such is the mood in the country, for Mallikarjun Kharge to come out and call it just a Sannaputta war, which is just a small war, is something that won't go down well with even people of Karnataka or people of the entire country. And we will have to see how the leadership in Congress, the others in Congress, will come out and justify, or if they even try to justify this.
Absolutely. In fact, at the Samarpan Sankalpa rally in Karnataka, the Congress chief has made multiple attacks. The one, of course, being also a question that he's raising at what has been the outcome of Prime Minister's international visits. Going to request you, Harish and Pallavi, continue to stay with me. Let's also listen into a very important reaction coming in, or Sambit Patra of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Let's listen in.
खरगे जी कह रहे हैं कि ऑपरेशन सिंदूर एक छोटी सी लड़ाई है, जिसके सबसे बड़े नेता राहुल गांधी बड़ी सी पार्टी मना रहे हों, उनके लिए ऑपरेशन सिंदूर एक छोटी सी ही लड़ाई नजर आएगी। क्या राहुल गांधी और खरगे जी ये समझ नहीं पा रहे हैं कि ऑपरेशन सिंदूर में घर के अंदर घुस के, पाकिस्तान के अंदर घुस के भारत की सेना ने अदम्य साहस के परिचय के साथ 9 आतंकी अड्डों को ध्वस्त किया, मिट्टी में मिलाया, और पाकिस्तान आज करहाते हुए नजर आ रहा है। ऐसे में जब आप कहते हैं कि ऑपरेशन सिंदूर कुछ नहीं, एक छोटी सी लड़ाई थी, ये कहीं ना कहीं अपने देश के साथ, अपने देश के सेना के अदम्य साहस के साथ यह धोखा है।
I go back to Pallavi and Harish, who continue to stay with us. Pallavi, the mood question again being, instead of lauding the valor of our soldiers and the armed forces, here we have, when the nation is at war, can the opposition and the government afford to be at war? That's a classic question.
Not at all, Akanksha. I mean, it's not the first time. And I remember when many leaders like Digvijay Singh would question the government and ask for proof of the Balakot surgical strikes. You remember how much it has come to hurt them. Look, in 2014, the Prime Minister came to power on the platform of the UPA being soft on terror, Dr. Manmohan Singh being a weak Prime Minister. Now, that image in the Congress party is now today trying to crumble. And because they're trying to crumble, is it really working? I'm afraid it is not really working for the Congress party, because the Congress unfortunately carries the baggage of being seen as a party which always questions the armed forces, which does not seem to exhibiting the spirit of nationalism. Mr. Kharge's comment, Rahul Gandhi's comment, Pawan Khera, unfortunately for the Congress party, just re-endorses or emboldens this point of view. And the timing in politics is always very critical. Just ahead of the delegation, just short while back, one round of debriefing has ended, ahead of the delegation going on, and which is going to launch another war against a misinformation campaign, educate the world why they need to stand by India in its fight against terror. You have our own politicians making fun of our armed forces and the government's efforts.
I want to bring in Harish. Harish, particularly talk about the Congress chief. Is he taking this too far now? Because remember, not only has he criticized the Prime Minister for his international visits, his image as the Vishwa Guru, he's also called this a colossal intelligence failure. And of course, as you were also rightly highlighting, he's referred to Operation Sindoor as a small war.
Absolutely, and look at the time that the statement is being made. As Pallavi rightly pointed out, there are delegations going out to various other countries, trying to tell these countries how the entire terror outfits and Pakistan have planned this, carried out this attack, how innocents have lost life. And here you have the president of the principal opposition party in the country saying that perhaps the Prime Minister had intelligence input about this, and he did not really alert other agencies who could have saved these tourists, in a way completely neutralizing the arguments that India wants to put forth before the international community via the visits of all these committees to various other countries. That's the question. Many Congress leaders have said that yes, there are questions that the opposition wants answers for, and perhaps there will be a time where the opposition can raise those questions and the government is bound to answer that. But is it the time now? Especially when you're looking at mounting international pressure on Pakistan for this heinous crime they've undertaken.
Many thanks to you, Harish and Pallavi, for putting that into perspective for us. Let's now shift focus over to some more breaking inputs coming in. As we were telling you earlier that a multi-party delegation briefing by the Ministry of External Affairs was underway, and what we are now learning is that that briefing is over. Details of what Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri has told the delegation visiting abroad are finally out. Sources are telling CNN News 18 that each delegation will carry a national specific dossier. Delegation will meet parliamentarians, even think tanks in those particular countries that they'll be visiting. the Indian community also will be addressed by the multi-party delegation. Remember, it's going to be a 7 multi-party delegation that we are looking at, 7 of them in total, which will be visiting 32 countries, comprises of MPs and diplomats cutting across various political parties. Now, let's quickly go across to Payal, who brings us more information. Payal, share with us the talking points that have been briefed to the multi-party delegations.
Well, of course, one thing that is being told to the delegation is that they have to go ahead and tell people that anywhere terror activities have taken place, whether it is 9/11 or 26/11, all the routes actually go back to Pakistan. That's something which Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been saying in as many words. That essentially is what is going to be the crux of the matter, that Pakistan has its deep-rooted connection with terrorism. And India has been, putting away all these attacks, but not anymore, because this is a new India which is not going to tolerate any terror being infiltrated with its boundaries. That's exactly what the argument really is. Of course, country-specific details will be shared with these leaders when they go. There will be dossiers which will be given to them. But they are likely to visit, multiple level delegations. They will also be interacting with the Indian community there, with the think tanks. They will be speaking to people, in the government, ministers, parliamentarians, and also, heads of the government if possible in certain countries. So that's the way it's going to be, and the members are waiting to get the dossier that they've been given for. And they said that, whatever argument they deem fit about India's argument against terror, they are free to make those points. And it was a very, very open briefing that happened today in the presence of Mr. Misri.
Absolutely. And what are you learning in terms of the names which will be heading these 7 delegations, and how has the government done due diligence in sort of maintaining that balance between the establishment and the opposition parties?
As far as the names are concerned, that's a story that has been discussed over the last 3 to 4 days. But, Akansha, importantly, delegation leaders have to be people who have some sort of an experience in, dealing. A lot of them have been part of the union government in the past as well. A lot of them have been senior parliamentarians. As far as the NDA names are concerned, the BJP has decided to give opportunity to a young member of parliament from Shiv Sena. Shrikant Shinde is a 38-year-old member of parliament, is going to head the delegation. Possibly the first time in his lifetime that he's done something like this, ever before. Everybody is excited. There were, of course, a lot of issues that came up and propped up in terms of, people feeling uncomfortable with them being approached directly and their party leaders not being done. But all is well that ends well. Now, Abhishek Banerjee is also on board. Priyanka Chaturvedi is also on board. And of course, Salman Khurshid was also a member of the delegation who came today to the briefing. So it seems all is well and everybody is going to go ahead with a positive frame of mind to represent Grand India.
All's well right now as far as the briefing is concerned. But Payal, what's going to be the key challenge at a time when Pakistan is busy mirroring India's activities and especially its diplomatic push? As we all know that Pakistan will also be undertaking a similar activity under the aegis of Bilawal Bhutto.
One of the points that the Foreign Secretary elaborated deeply in this meeting was that, Indian and Indian government has essentially tried to, throughout this entire Operation Sindoor, try to buzz the lies of Pakistan, their propaganda, their way of trying to, sort of mislead people in the name of false pictures and, false videos being shared as well. But that is something which the Indian establishment will have to continue to fight, and they continue to fight even now. Even as Pakistan tried to build a narrative before the world, trying to play a sorry figure, that is also one of the challenges that the Indian delegation will have to understand, that this is going to come at any step of the way. They have to be on their guard, and they have to make sure that, they tell the world that Pakistan is a nation of fake, and a nation of fake narratives, and that's something with Indian government. So obviously, I'm sure it is going to be part of the dossier to tell the world how India has busted the fake news of Pakistan.
Many thanks to you, Payal, for bringing us all those inputs. With that, let's now shift focus over to Bengaluru. Remember, the city is struggling as usual, as pre-monsoon showers now leave the city flooded, but the Siddaramaiah government presses ahead with its grand 2-year anniversary celebrations. Over 100 mm of rainfall has led to waterlogging and traffic chaos that's crippling Bengaluru, causing widespread damage. 3 lives have already been lost, including a woman in Whitefield who was crushed under a collapsed wall, and 2 electrocution deaths have been reported in BTM layout. As the Bharatiya Janata Party questions the city's monsoon preparedness, Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar has defended the government, claiming 70% of flood mitigation work is complete, with more in progress. Despite the crisis, the Congress government has geared up for its Sadhan Samavesh event in Vijayanagara, marking 2 years in power of the Congress party. Sudat Bharadwaj brings you a report.
We are here at the Silk Board Junction in yet another area in this very location, and as you can see, massive waterlogging here right behind me as a result of the overnight rains that Bengaluru witnessed again on Monday after a heavy spell on Sunday as well. Overnight, an entire part here, an entire road here, part of the Silk Board junction has essentially been blocked off entirely because there is a large amount of stagnant water here, and vehicular movement has become a huge problem. We can see that this entire stretch is actually extremely crucial for the city, given that it connects, it is a getaway, it is a gateway to the electronic city tech park here, as well as the Marathalli and Sarjapur road stretch, which is also a crucial part of the IT corridor, and this entire stretch is extremely crucial, and it usually sees such amount of congestion, but right now, as you can see, a large amount of waterlogging yet again, causing a lot of inconvenience. And in fact, BBMP Chief Commissioner Maheshwar Rao has said that they are looking at temporary solutions of installing sumps everywhere to mitigate the flooding problem, and in the long term solution, seeing that there is an entire makeover of the sewerage system here, or the drainage system, the stormwater drainage system here, to see that Bengaluru does not see a lot of flooding issues. But the fact of the matter is, year on year we continue to see that Bengaluru suffers with such basic infrastructural issues and infrastructural frailties that show that the Bengaluru is not ready to face the monsoons.
All right, let's also now get you some ground zero perspective. Apart from that report that has been shared by Sudat, I'm also joined in by Dr. Kiran Jeevan, who is a Bengaluru resident. But remember, he's somebody who's also sent a legal notice to BBMP seeking 50 lakh rupees compensation over poor infrastructure in Bengaluru. Many thanks to you, sir, for joining in. Dr. Jeevan, I want to begin by asking you, why are you seeking this compensation, that too worth 50 lakh rupees from the BBMP?
Thank you very much for having me on the news. I'm a very, very faithful Bangalore citizen, resident, tax-paying, honest person in Bangalore. But our infrastructure is in crambles. And, it's such a bad position at the moment that there are so many potholes across the city of Bangalore, and this is causing a lot of health hazards for so many people. And I'm one of those victims who have a severe neck pain because of bad roads. And I'm asking the BBMP that Bangalore being the kind of city that is, with the international repute and IT corridors, it's important to have very good infrastructure. And I think the least the government and the city municipality can do is to provide us good roads. And without that, this is becoming a huge crisis in Bangalore city. And I'm not talking only on my behalf. I'm talking about on behalf of so many of other Bangaloreans whom I know as well, who are suffering health hazards because of bad roads in Bangalore.
Dr. Kiran, I'm told that doctors have in fact said that they've held these roads responsible for your severe neck and back pain. They're saying that it's because of these constant jerks that you've developed this condition. Yes,
absolutely, ma'am. And you know what? Since traveling is very much part of our life, and I meet my parents and friends around. So earlier I used to go by two-wheelers, and that is impossible at the moment because of bad roads. Autos are even worse. The kind of jerks that you get going in an auto is very, very painful. And I have met some of the top orthopedics in Bangalore, and everybody attribute this pain to bad roads. And they say that be very careful when you're driving, be very careful when you're on the roads, stay away from potholes. But where can I stay away from potholes? Because everywhere you turn, you find potholes, uneven roads, even pavements meant for walking is not even. So this is creating a lot of problem, and somebody has to talk about this, and the state and the city must be responsible to provide us this basic infrastructure that we require.
So right now, what you've done is sent a legal notice demanding this 50 lakh rupees compensation. Could you share with me what have you stated in your notice?
Well, I have my legal notice to my lawyer, Laveen, basically talks about the physical and mental trauma that I went through because of the pain. See, only I understand the pain that I went through. It's very difficult for everybody to understand. But someone who has gone through this knows exactly what that pain is. And I think it's not about 1 day or 2 days, it's years of struggle. And the hospital, I went through so much of therapy for my back, so much of injections. Why should I suffer? I'm paying taxes to the government. I'm doing everything I can. Why should I suffer? It's not my mistake. It is a mistake of the state. It's a mistake of the city, not by not providing us good roads. And that's why I went ahead. This legal notice came after a lot of thought. I gave it a lot of thought, a lot of thinking, a lot of advice, and I decided that I must file this in order to raise awareness on this issue.
Absolutely.
And also seek
and
justice.
apart from the physical pain that you're undergoing, what is the monetary sort of expenditure that you've had to bear so far to afford your medical treatment for this condition?
Well, yeah, orthopedics is very expensive.
Yes.
I'm sure you're aware of that as well.
And for how long have you been under treatment?
At least 4 years now. At least 4 years. It started aggravating since about 4 to 5 years from now. Before that, it was fine. But then, as you're also getting older every day and, you keep traveling, it aggravates. And that causes a lot of pain. And, sometimes this pain is so excruciating that you cry. And I've had those spells, of, I don't know, I'm crying myself, but I cried. And thanks to my family who rushed me to the hospital. And when you go to a hospital, you know how expensive it gets. They do all the tests and that and X-ray and this. It's heavy. It
indeed
kind
is,
of
and
bothers.
traumatizing as well. And before
Yes,
I let you
absolutely.
go, Dr. Jeevan, I just want to quickly ask you: have you received any kind of response from the BBMP, and are you willing to take this forward to a civil suit level?
I have not received a reply as yet because we have given them 15 days notice. And my lawyer, my advocate is in touch, and he just called me actually, and he said, we'll wait for that. And if there is no reply, and if they're going to push it under the carpet, then we will file a PIL at the High Court as soon as the courts open in the month of June.
I do wish you speedy recovery and the very best. I do hope the BBMP takes notice of your condition and does something about this infrastructure issue that's become a repeated pattern in the city of Bengaluru especially. Many thanks to you, Dr. Jeevan, for joining in. With that, let's also listen into some more reactions that have come in on this news story.
Bengaluru has continued to see these problems year on year with basically little to no improvement. How do you see the situation, sir? Citizens continue to complain about everyday issues like this.
To apologize to the citizens for inconvenience caused due to rains, because we obviously want to provide the best services. Of course, the thing is that for a city of this size, which is growing rapidly, when you have rains of 100 mm, there are issues which do crop up, and we have been putting our teams to do our best to immediately resolve the situation. The Honorable Chief Minister, the Deputy Chief Minister have given directions also that you have to do the best and you have to ensure that there should be no inconvenience to citizens. So our whole team is effort, everything is there during these monsoons. Wherever there are drains which are blocked, wherever there are any issues which can be handled immediately in the short term, we will do it. Some action has been taken in the last couple of years for medium term solutions. The effects are seen. There are no floods in Yelahanka area which used to be perennially flooded. So hopefully we will do our best in the coming days also.
Sir, what is the next course of action ahead? What are the current challenges that the city can deal with on a temporary basis, and what is it that BBMP is planning long term?
What we are doing is, of course, wherever the encroachments on the drains, where drains are not having enough carrying capacity, we are going to definitely ensure the action is taken. We will also follow up on temporary solutions wherever there are flooding for temporary times. We will put pumps, etc. Arrangements have been made in all locations. All agencies have been activated.
ಕಳೆದ 3-4 ದಿವಸದಿಂದ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಮಳೆ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿನಲ್ಲಾಗಿದೆ. ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಚರಂಡಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಡ್ರೈನೇಜ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ಲಾಗಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಿ ಭಾಳ ಅಸ್ತವ್ಯಸ್ತ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಜನಗಳಿಗೆ ಭಾಳ ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಗಿದೆ. ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿ ಸೌತಿಂದ ನಾರ್ತಿಗೆ ಹೋಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಥವಾ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಹತ್ರ ವಿಪರೀತ ನೀರೆಲ್ಲ ಇದಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ, ಫ್ಲಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದರಿಂದ ಟ್ರಾಫಿಕ್ಕು ಕೂಡ ಭಾಳ ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಆ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಯಾರೂ ಬರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಗ್ತಾಯಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂಥೇಳಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಭಾಳಷ್ಟು ಕಡೆ ಈ ವೈಟ್ ಟಾಪಿಂಗು ಮತ್ತು ರಿಪೇರಿ ಕೆಲಸಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಗ್ತಾಯಿದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಳೆಗಾಲ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಹತ್ರ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಡೆಬ್ರಿಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂತ ಅನಿಸುತ್ತೆ.
Siddaramaiah government has become so insensitive when people are worst affected due to heavy rains from last 2 days in Bangalore. State government is busy in celebrating in 2 years completion at Hospet. People are suffering. Instead of celebrating 2 years completion, Chief Minister and also Deputy Chief Minister They keep talking about greater Bangalore. Just by naming Bangalore as a greater Bangalore, it's not going to help the people of Bangalore. They have to work. All the contractors' payment has been stopped due to which development work has stopped. So they have to immediately ask the contractors to continue their work.
ನಾನು ಭಗವಂತನಲ್ಲೇ ಮಳೆ ಬರಲಿ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥನೆ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಮಳೆ ಬಂದಷ್ಟು ಸರ್ಕಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಲಾಭ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ನಾನು ಪವರ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದವನು. ಆ ಮಳೆ ಬಂದರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ ತುಂಬಿದ್ರೆ ರೈತರ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಎಷ್ಟಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ. ಇವತ್ತವರೆಗೂ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಇನ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್, ಒಂದು ಡೆತ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನನಗೊಂದು ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಇದೆ. ನಾನು ನಿನ್ನೆ ರಾತ್ರಿ ಬಂದೆ. ನಿನ್ನೆ ರಾತ್ರಿ ಕೂಡ ಮಳೆ ಬಂತು, ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಏನು ಯಾವ ಆಘಾತನೂ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಇವತ್ತು ಕೂಡ ಏನಂತ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೂಡ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳು ವಾರ್ ಫುಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ವಾಪಸ್ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ, ಈಗ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ. ನಾನು ಚೀಫ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಇಬ್ರು ಸೇರಿ ಕೆಲವು ಜಾಗಗಳನ್ನ ವಿಸಿಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಟೂರಿಸಂ ಅಲ್ಲ ಬಂದಿರೋದು, ಹಂಪೆ ಟೂರಿಸಂ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ. ಜನರ ಬದುಕನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಪಾಪ ಅವ್ರ ವಿರೋಧ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಲಿ ಏನಾರು ಅವ್ರು ಟೀಕೆ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅಶೋಕ್ ಇಬ್ಬರಿಗೂ ಅವ್ರ ಸಮಾಧಾನ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ವಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರ ಸ್ಥಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಧಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತದಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವ್ರೇನೋ ಒಂದು ನಾಲ್ಕು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಬೇಜಾರು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು.
Right, we're getting in breaking inputs. In fact, this is with regards to IPL. As what we are learning is that the IPL is all set to relocate major matches due to weather conditions in southern India. And in fact, the IPL has already relocated Royal Challengers Bengaluru's final home fixture against Sunrisers Hyderabad. Originally, that was set for Friday, May 23rd to Lucknow. This due to adverse weather conditions in South India. Vineet is joining me with more inputs. Vineet, so what is the new date for this final home fixture between RCB and SRH, or is this going to be fought against LSG, which is Lucknow Super Giants?
Yeah, the match for the Royal Challengers Bangalore has been relocated just because of the weather conditions there. Yellow alert has been issued by the meteorological department in Bengaluru. And remember, Royal Challengers' previous game was also abandoned due to rain. So this in a way gives a clearer picture wherein Royal Challengers Bangalore, with 2 games remaining, will have a clearer way of finishing in the top 2. And it also works in a way that most of the games have been shifted, or BCCI have been forced to move just because of the weather conditions down south. Even the playoff games, the first 2 playoff games, that is qualifier 1 and eliminator, have been scheduled to be at Mullanpur in New Chandigarh. Earlier, they were supposed to be hosted in Hyderabad and in Kolkata, the final leg as well. But then again, due to the weather conditions and because the league was also suspended for a week, just delaying the end of the league as well. So that is the main reason why the games have been shifted. For Royal Challengers Bengaluru, their final 2 games, this means, would be at 2 away fixtures, both played at the Ekana Stadium in Lucknow, and Mullanpur being given the hosting rights for the playoff games, taking away from Hyderabad again for weather conditions. Weather is not the greatest down south, so there would be issues with a lot of games being abandoned or a lot of games being washed out also. So that was the main reason why these games have been moved.
Many thanks to you, Vineet, for bringing us all those latest inputs on that breaking news story. With that, we're slipping into a quick break here at Nation 5. Be right back with more breaking inputs.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
As the Congress party has yet again attacked the External Affairs Minister, the Congress has gone on to say that Jai Shankar is the new age Jai Chand. That is a line of attack around in the form of this particular cartoon that's been shared by senior Congress leader Pawan Khera, where they have again made that suggestion that Pakistan was pre-informed of Operation Sindoor, and that attack on terrorist infra that was done on Pakistan and the POK that information was made available to Pakistan courtesy S. Jai Shankar, which is why all the terrorists who were believed to be in fact, at those locations could just have fled. That is the allegation that has been made by Congress, and now the Congress is amping up that attack. My colleague Pallavi is with us on the broadcast. Pallavi, the Congress is not letting it go. They are going on attacking the External Affairs Minister.
Absolutely, and we are just seeing, and in fact we just reported a short while back that there's going to be a criminal and a civil case which is going to be filed against Malhotra by the Congress party. And just close on the heels of that, a little moment back, you also have this entire social media post which has been put out by Pawan Khera calling Jaishankar Jaichand, or someone who has betrayed the country, who has backstabbed. What's been going on since yesterday after that purported soundbite of Jaishankar. Despite a clarification coming in from the MEA, the Congress has decided to take this line that Jaishankar.
Okay, seem to have lost that link with Pallavi. We'll try and re-establish that connection, but Pallavi essentially was talking on the lines that the Congress party has decided to take, which is attack the External Affairs Minister, particularly after the comments that he'd made about an information that was given into Pakistan way into Operation Sindoor. Pradeep Bhandari, the national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, is now with us on the broadcast. Pradeep, first of all, your first comments of this entire that has been released by Pawan Khera, one of the senior Congress leaders. Once again, an accusatory stance by the Congress party against the External Affairs Minister.
Well, Congress party is nothing short of Mir Jafar, and Congress party is the B team of Pakistan. Please note that it's the same party which has become the poster boy of the Pakistani media. Rahul Gandhi has been quoted time and again by Pakistan and various United Nations forums, and the Mir Jafar and the Gaddar party will logically and rationally point fingers at every other patriot and nationalist. So Mr. Khera's tweet is in that direction. The Congress party needs to answer why Mr. Kharge called Operation Sindoor, which the world is admitting and acknowledging.
Welcome back. You're watching Nation at 5. Fresh revelations have now emerged in the Jyoti Malhotra espionage case, exposing her free movement across Pakistan, VIP treatment and even security provided by Pakistani authorities to Malhotra due to her links with ISI operatives. As the Pak Spy Nexus probe now deepens further, police sources are telling CNN News 18 that Jyoti deleted key chat logs with Danish during 2 critical periods. Remember, Danish is the official from the Pak High Commission. Haryana police has now sent 3 mobile phones and a laptop seized from her for forensic examination, raising suspicion of attempts to destroy evidence. Meanwhile, CNN News 18 has accessed a handwritten note from Jyoti to her family asking for fruit and medicines, along with chat excerpts between her and ISI officer Ali Hassan. The chats reveal Hassan was seeking intelligence on IB and RAW officers in Atari. The investigation has widened further, with Punjab's Gurdaspur police arresting 2 individuals for leaking sensitive intelligence to Pakistan, calling it a major breakthrough. The Haryana police has also arrested a suspected spy in Panchkula, with further details expected soon. Listen in to the reactions.
देखिए, इस संदर्भ में पूरी पुलिस तरफ से जांच की प्रक्रिया चल रही है और पूरे ही मामले को हम बहुत ही माइन्यूटली इन्वेस्टिगेट कर रहे हैं। हर छोटी चीज़, हर छोटी बारीकी का ध्यान रखा जा रहा है। उनका सोशल मीडिया हैंडल हो या फिर वो उनका टूर कहाँ पे था, या फिर किसी भी प्रकार का फाइनेंशियल ट्रांजैक्शंस वगैरह भी अगर है तो उसकी भी छोटी से छोटी चीज़ का ध्यान रखते हुए उसको इन्वेस्टिगेट किया जा रहा है। जैसे मैंने आपको बोला कि मतलब उनके फाइनेंशियल ट्रांजैक्शंस को भी चेक किया जा रहा है कि उसमें कोई अगर एनोमली है या फिर कोई इस तरीके का हमें अगर कुछ सुराग मिलता है तो फिर हम उसके हिसाब से आगे कार्रवाई करेंगे।
We believe that if there is any link, as far as this Odisha link is concerned, if at all there is any link, the National Investigating Agency will do their job properly, and whatever investigation, whatever prosecution process has to be taken up in future, that will be done in proper manner.
All right, so as the spy YouTubers espionage web continues to unravel, let's also take you to the top 5 stunning new disclosures which have now come to the forefront after greater scrutiny. First is the alleged relationship with an individual who's been identified as the Pakistan High Commission official named Danish, who's currently also under scrutiny by Indian agencies. Second, and equally important, is the fresh evidence that has emerged through deleted messages potentially containing sensitive exchanges recovered or identified for forensic analysis. Remember, the laptops, the mobile phones that have been recovered from Jyoti Malhotra have already been sent for that forensic analysis. Thirdly, chats with an ISI officer named Ali Hassan are also under the scanner. These chats were accessed by CNN News 18, and we can tell you that they also reveal that ISI officer Hassan wanted to gather more information, that too with regards to officials from the Intelligence Bureau, even raw officers who are stationed at Atari currently. And in a fresh twist, Jyoti Malhotra Spygate case, the investigating agencies have accessed her handwritten notes. These handwritten notes have been sent to the family. They're also being probed, which could unravel key evidence in the case, because remember, then the role of the family also is going to be probed in terms of whether or not the father was aware of Jyoti's Pak links. Of course, so far he has denied. Equally crucial is the link with a Puri YouTuber named Priyanka Senapati, which has also surfaced and is currently under the scanner. And lastly, the alleged links with another YouTuber from Puri who has been, of course, as we rightly highlighted, identified as Priyanka Senapati. Remember, Senapati is being interrogated by multiple agencies as we speak for the third consecutive day over her alleged links with Jyoti Malhotra. Let me quickly bring in Anshul Singh, who's joining me on the phone line. Anshul, we are, of course, very much aware of the fresh evidence that has come to the forefront, but take us through this new link that has emerged of Jyoti Malhotra with Priyanka Senapati, this another YouTuber who's based in Puri, and which is why perhaps also indicating that there's a larger nexus of these YouTubers involved.
Well, yes, Priyanka Senapati, the name that has come up, was actually a friend of Jyoti, and they were actually seen traveling. They had made vlogs together as well, be it in Kerala or be it in Pahalgam, which was an year ago. They had visited all these spots together, and Jyoti was also in touch with her YouTuber friend as well, and that is the reason why she is now being interrogated by the security agencies at this point, because they still want to figure out if at all there are more YouTubers who knew this entire modus operandi of the ISI, in which they were trying to lure in people from India and trying to gain in sensitive information regarding the country. So this is a massive nexus that has come to the fore. There could be more players who could be involved in this entire process, and that is the reason why each and every person who might have been in direct contact with Jyoti is also being questioned regarding their whereabouts, and if at all they knew that something like this was in the making, and information was actually being shared to people across the border as well. So over the next few days, what sources in the security agencies are telling us that it is very, very likely that more and more arrests would be made in this entire matter, as people are being arrested, their phones are being frisked, their phones are being checked, and through those links, their links with other people is also coming out, and hence the agencies are reaching towards them. One thing that has not gone in favor of the Indian security agencies is Danish, and since Danish was a person who was employed in the Pakistan High Commission, and hence he was enjoying that diplomatic immunity, and that is one of the main reasons that the agencies cannot actually go ahead and question Danish in this entire matter, because he is the missing link. He is that one person who can spill the beans on this entire nexus that has been unearthed from across the country.
Many thanks to you, Anshul, for bringing us those latest inputs and information on that news story. We await more information to trickle in, but to talk about Operation Sindoor. And remember, an infantry combat vehicle, a powerful asset that also carries 7 infantry jawans and 3 operators, was deployed near the LOC during recent tensions. Mechanized infantry platforms were also moved to counter violations from Pakistan that has reinforced India's frontline defense. Now, for a closer look at these operations, our correspondent Akash Sharma brings us a detailed, exclusive ground report. Let's have a look.
A number of important aspects of Operation Sindoor have not come out in the public domain, and one such aspect is the use of mechanized infantry. When the ceasefire violation was happening from the other side, then different arms of Indian Army in fact came together, and in fact mechanized infantry went till LC and in fact fired from LC to the other side to give a befitting reply to the sort of violations that were happening. I'll try to talk to the officers of mechanized infantry as to when we talk about these vehicles, these ICVs, so what these vehicles are all about and how these vehicles were used. So, how these vehicles were used in Operation Sindoor and what was the role of these vehicles?
So basically, infantry combat vehicles is a specialized platform which can be airdropped, can be used on ground, in road as well as cross-country movement, and can also float across in water. It was basically used in Operation Sindoor in close support with infantry along the post at LC to carry out fire assault. We have a primary armament that is an anti-tank guided missile which can be used against enemy tanks as well as enemy posts. Apart from that, we have a 30mm cannon gun which can be used for anti-personnel role, anti-aircraft role also. So it was also effective during anti-aircraft role. We were able to carry out fire assault and destroy enemy posts along the LC.
This is one indigenous platform, if I'm not wrong.
This is a technology which we adopted from USSR, erstwhile USSR and now Russia, and now it is being manufactured in India in Medak.
A lot has been talked about as far as violations are concerned, and the ceasefire violation that was happening at that point in time. I want to make it very clear to our audience that Indian Army did not cross the boundary and in fact was very much within our limits. But when these violations were happening from the other side of the boundary, then these vehicles were in fact sent bang on LC to fire. How many people can sit inside this particular vehicle? Because I can see at least 3 of them.
This vehicle is a platform which houses 3 crew basically and 7 other infantry soldiers. We can take them up to the battlefield and use them as ground soldiers in infantry role.
Right. So camera person Arjun is showing you these visuals where these ICVs in fact were sent close to LC, in fact to retaliate to the sort of fire that was in fact coming. This is one vehicle that is in fact being manufactured in India now. This is infantry combat vehicle, a very part of mechanized infantry. And as far as these arms are concerned, so we know that how not just mechanized infantry but armored and in fact the infantry bang on LC where we have our forward posts were very much a part of the entire operation, where retaliation was given to the sort of fire that was coming from Pakistan.
And indeed, a moment of pride now to discover that these ICVs are being produced in India with, of course, technology also being shared with and by Russia. And with that, it's a quick wrap from my end. Thank you so much for watching Nation at 5. Up next is Take 3 with Zaka, Anand and Rahul.
Mama must be. This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
As the Congress party has yet again attacked the External Affairs Minister, the Congress has gone on to say that Jai Shankar is the new age Jai Chand. That is a line of attack, a rather controversial one coming in from the Congress party, where they had first said that how the details of Operation Sindoor was already shared with Pakistan by the External Affairs Minister, and now in the form of this particular cartoon that's been shared by senior Congress leader Pawan Khera, where they have again made that suggestion that Pakistan was pre-informed of Operation Sindoor and that attack on terrorist infra that was done on Pakistan and the POK that information was made available to Pakistan courtesy S. Jai Shankar, which is why all the terrorists who were believed to be in fact, at those locations could just have fled. That is the allegation that has been made by Congress, and now the Congress is amping up that attack. My colleague Pallavi is with us on the broadcast. Pallavi, the Congress is not letting it go. They are going on attacking the External Affairs Minister.
Absolutely, and we are just seeing, and in fact we just reported a short while back that there's going to be a criminal and a civil case which is going to be filed against Amit Malviya by the Congress party. And just close on the heels of that, a little moment back, you also have this entire social media post which has been put out by Pawan Khera calling Jai Shankar Jai Chand, or someone who has betrayed the country, who has backstabbed. What's been going on since yesterday after that purported soundbite of Jai Shankar. Despite a clarification coming in from the MEA, the Congress has decided to take this line that Jai Shankar.
Okay, seem to have lost that link with Pallavi. We'll try and re-establish that connection.
Hello viewers, you're watching Take 3, and I and Zaka Jacob are going to talk a little bit about the politics that seems to be now suffusing the Operation Sindoor story. So Zaka, we've had once again, one can only say, an off-color remark being made by the Congress president, seeming to trivialize the entire operation as such. Now, Rahul Gandhi, of course, has been asking other questions of Dr. Jai Shankar, of Prime Minister Modi, but this sort of takes it in a slightly more, how should one put it, politically.
I mean, it's a needless
space. It's also, it's not just needless. I think there is a particular logic behind all of this. One gets the sense that the Congress party feels politically insecure. Or
they made the calculation that it could be politically profitable for them to do
perhaps.
This.
But where does this come from is what I can't understand.
What is interesting is, Rahul, and we've been talking about this, right, in the aftermath of Operation Sindoor, one of the things that we saw, at least at the level of the Congress party's leadership, Rahul Gandhi, Mr. Kharge, etc., at least for public consumption, whatever they were saying to the public on record was, we're with the government, whatever action the government chooses to take, we are with the government on that. We don't have any quibble. Of course, lower level leaders like your Rashid Alvis and the others of the world were pointing out discordant notes. Something has changed in that. And I think it started with what happened over the weekend, where Rahul Gandhi decided to tweet what the External Affairs Minister had said a day before that and asked him, why did you inform Pakistan, or who informed Pakistan, and how many assets did we lose because of that? Now, the point is that's been clarified by the MEA, it's been clarified by the minister, the ministry also. But somehow Rahul Gandhi is doubling down on that message, saying that why did the External Affairs Minister inform Pakistan? And now today what the Congress President, Mr. Kharge, has said, again, like you said, trivializing this whole operation, should put Operation Hua Hai. It's not a chut put thing. I mean, you've hit 9 terror targets, some of them deep inside Pakistani Punjab. It's not a small thing.
You've changed the rules of engagement, military engagement between nuclear dyads. I mean, that in itself.
And you can't call that a chut-put operation. So somewhere I think the leadership of the Congress party seems to have made this political calculation. As you said, either they were feeling like they were giving too much of a free pass to the Modi government, and the Modi government was walking away with the political sort of benefits or dividends of this, or they feel like, they can poke holes in some of the things that have been put out by the government's version of events, or the government's narrative of events. But I don't see this politically benefiting the Congress party. And I'm just going back to evidence of what we saw in Balakot, right, after the 2019 Balakot strike, and that was in the middle of the heightened rhetoric of the campaign, the 2019 general election campaign. And again, Rahul Gandhi made the same mistake. He said, where's the proof? We seem to have hit a bunch of trees. The problem is, the moment the leader of the opposition starts making those kinds of comments, the Pakistani press picks it up and the Pakistani political establishment picks it up. I'm sure Mr. Kharge's comments have already gone viral in Pakistani social media. That becomes a problem for the Congress to try and defend.
I think, speaking to a large number of people within the BJP also, there was a feeling initially that perhaps there was a certain pushback from the public. The decision to suddenly halt has not been sort of accepted widely. And there has been, of course, an effort after that. I mean, the Prime Minister came out and gave a whole speech, not once but twice, to try and explain to the public. That was really their outreach. And of course, you've had the RM, you've had now visits to various forward bases, and those are the pictures of Mr. Modi himself at Adampur, which was, of course, so I think there has been at some level, some apprehensions within the BJP that perhaps the people felt that this was a sign of India backing off. Now, the question is, and that's what the Congress is sort of trying to hit is at whose behest did we back off? So I think that's really, as you were saying, the Congress is perhaps sensing there is an opportunity to score some political points. But how far do you think they're going to go?
Well, looks like they've made that concerted call, because I thought initially when Rahul Gandhi tweeted what he did over the weekend, and then there was a clarification subsequently by the minister and the ministry, I thought he would back off. But yesterday again he doubled down on that same message. And today now you have the Congress president, effectively saying, trivializing the Operation Sindoor, which, I don't think any political party should try to trivialize it, because, as you said, India is now drawing a new doctrine. New security doctrine as far as these terror attacks are concerned. It's drawing new red lines as far as these attacks are concerned in terms of what India's security response will be. But the point is to trivialize it or to try and poke holes. I'm not saying any of these questions are not legitimate. I mean, in a democracy, it is a legitimate question to ask and the answer to be sought for how many air assets did we lose. But there is a time and place for asking that question, and there is certainly a time and place for the answer of that question to be
In fact, a BJP
delivered.
senior leader tweeted back to Rahul Gandhi in a sort of first-person tone and said that, look, we don't have a problem if these questions are posed to us, but pose them in the right fora.
Yeah.
Ask them in these sort of briefings.
Correct.
Or ask them in an all-party sort of meeting, etc., etc. We don't have a problem. But if you take to Twitter, you basically give Pakistan the bragging rights to say that, look, they lost a lot more. Because that's really what Pakistan has been trying to do, hasn't it, over the last few weeks? It's been trying to suggest that it's come away as the victor.
And I suspect somewhere Rahul Gandhi wants to prove and go back to his 2019, theme and that whole familiar attack line that he had in 2019, that there's a problem with the Rafales, right? So somehow he wants to justify that, look, if India has lost some air assets, if India has lost some Rafales, then it justifies what he was doing about through the campaign of 2019.
Yeah.
I think that's trying to retrofit something that you went to the people with, and whether you like it or not, the people rejected that narrative, right? That whole business about Chaukidar Chor hai, and it went up to the Supreme Court. So both in the People's Court and in the Supreme Court, that narrative got rejected. Those allegations got shelved away. But the point is, I think Rahul Gandhi somewhere down the line feels like, at least in his political calculus, that is an unfinished agenda. That's an unfinished business for him. And he's now trying to retrofit back to that campaign, if he can prove and if he can get the government to say that, yes, we did lose some air assets.
So if you were sort of a strategist at the Congress party, you would obviously be wanting to exploit what many people say is a bit of dissonance with regards to decision, ceasefire, but where would you want it to materialize, the benefit for you? Probably in the Bihar elections.
Yeah, which is still a fair distance away, right? I mean, it's about 7-8 months away, and anything can happen between, they say a week is a long time in politics, 7 months is like an eternity. So again, I'm not sure about where the Congress party sees the political dividends of this line of attack sort of bearing fruit, if at all it will bear fruit. I don't think it will. From the government's point of view, I think they are hitting back saying that, look, you are giving a handle to Pakistan, In fact, the BJP has come up with this poster, which has half Rahul Gandhi's visage and half of Munir's visage, and they sort of blend them together, which now, of course, Jairam Ramesh and others have come out and said they're going to be suing the BJP IT cell head, Amit Malviya. Do you think the BJP will once again be able to box the Congress into a bit of a corner where they constantly want to seem to suggest that the Congress party is an apologist for Pakistan? I don't know if we should actually now be showing that poster, because if Jairam Ramesh is thinking of taking legal action, he might say that this Congress,
is vicarious.
I think Mr. Khera sort of put out his own sort of spin to it, showing Mr. Jaishankar and Mr. Modi, and there you go,
there it is,
modern day Jai Chand. Again, it says something of our political discourse if political opponents are being referred to as Jai Chands and Mir Jafars. I don't think that sits well, particularly on an important issue like national security. I mean, there should be a degree of consensus when it comes to national security. Like I said, some of these questions are valid, but there is a time and place to ask those questions and seek those answers, whether it is in closed door, all party meetings or closed door briefings by the foreign secretary. Please ask those questions. I believe he was asked that question yesterday.
He was.
And he said that, look, it's not my place to be answering this. It has to come from the Indian Air Force. So if there are, let's say, for example, meetings of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Defence, and I'm sure there will be one, that's where you ask this question. It's a legitimate question to ask.
Rahul Gandhi is a member of that
He's a member of that committee as well. It's a legitimate question to ask. But to go up on Twitter on a Saturday evening and, take something that the External Affairs Minister has said, which he clearly has come out and clarified, and the Ministry has come out and clarified. And I believe if you go back to the press conference of the ADG, the ADG, the Army and Navy and Air Force operations, DGMOs who came out and said, I believe the DGMO also said the same thing, that we tried contacting the Pakistani DGMO immediately after Operation Sindoor. He refused to take the call, and there is a military log that goes. It's a matter of record. It's like sending a telegram across to the other side that, look, we've hit these targets. These are all terror infrastructure as we see it.
So let's broaden this, because will the trivialization of the political discourse around Operation Sindoor hamper the efforts that are now being made by the Modi government when it has sent this whole delegation of what one can only call ambassadors, unofficial ambassadors to various world capitals, and there are a significant number of countries that we're going to be hitting. Now, these teams, their work is going to be cut off, because if the people they're interlocuting with just turn around and say, but look, the opposition in your country, you're sort of passing this off as a massive success, etc., etc., you're exposing Pakistan. But the opposition itself says you haven't captured the Pahalgam attackers, so you don't quite know if Pakistan is behind them. Thirdly, therefore, it's questionable whether you should have actually taken the kind of action you did against Pakistan. Did you jump the gun? And then, from there follows on to all these other questions, whether it was a declared or undeclared military victory, etc., etc. Do you think that's going to hamper our communication?
At one level, it's a good thing that these questions are being asked in a democracy. Right? These questions are not being asked in Pakistan, and there are legitimate questions to be asked there as well. But it's not being asked there because it's not a democracy. It's certainly not a functioning democracy. So I think it's good to ask some of these questions. But the problem is, again, I come back to, you have to be mindful of how that can be construed by the other side. Not just the other side, as you said. Some of these parliamentary delegations may also be asked questions by members of parliament or their counterparts and colleagues in these countries that they're going to. India, let's face it, I mean, I wouldn't say that this is some kind of diplomatic damage control, but certainly India needs to do more to win the narrative war. I think that's very, very clear in the aftermath of what happened in Operation Sindoor. I mean, we may have won the battle on the field. We certainly did. But in terms of capturing the narrative, certainly we can do much more. And I think sending these parliamentary delegations is an attempt to try and correct some of the misperceptions in global capitals, in Washington, in London, Paris, etc. That, look, you can't equate the victim and the perpetrator when it comes to terror. I mean, what India did was in response to Pahalgam. This is not India escalating. It was Pakistan that chose to escalate. And I think those delegations will have their work cut out. Whether or not they will be asked, your leader of the opposition is saying that the External Affairs Minister gave it away to Pakistan, or the leader of the main opposition party is saying that this was a trivial operation. Well, I guess some of these questions will come up. After all, those countries are also democracies. I mean, they will also ask these questions.
Yeah, and one wonders whether we will therefore be able to achieve the ends that we are setting out to achieve. Because fundamentally, we already know that a large number of countries sort of sat on the fence, which many people say is a limitation, really, of India's ability or persuasive powers to get public opinion across global capitals behind it. So there is that of course problem, but apprehension also, I suppose. Very quickly, Dr. Jaishankar is also sort of doing his own meetings. He's been overnight in The Hague, obviously trying to ensure that India's point of view and the legalese behind a large number of decisions that have been taken is well advertised to minds at Hague. Did you see that as an important...
No, so also the other thing, Rahul, is India is at a disadvantage because India is not a part of the non-permanent members of the Security Council right now. Pakistan is. And I believe Pakistan will have an extended tenure, maybe till the end of the year, maybe even longer than that. So they are inside the room when these conversations are happening at the UNSC. India will have to depend on its partners and friends and allies. So if you look at these parliamentary delegations, in addition to wherever the minister is also going, a lot of them are going to these smaller countries. Slovenia, for example, it's going to be one of the newer members later on this year as part of the UNSC rotating non-permanent members. So I think India really needs to sort of do a lot more lobbying, get its friends and partners and influence them and try and get those folks to put India's point of view forth in the closed door meetings of the UN Security Council, because Pakistan is a foot in the door there. We don't have a foot in the door there yet.
How significant is really the UN? I think we just have about 30 seconds more. How significant is validation, let's put it like that, from the UNSC?
Well, look, if we're going to take the TRF, the Resistance Front, which is the terror organization behind Pahalgam, and get the 1267 Sanctions Committee to proscribe it, then we can do with all the help that we can get.
Absolutely. So, viewers, interesting days ahead. Most of these delegations begin their work from actually tomorrow night. So, we'll be getting you, of course, wall-to-wall coverage of those meetings. There are going to be a huge string, apparently also media interactions between Indian members of parliament and the international press. It'll be very interesting to see the line of questioning, of course, our responses. Let me quickly go straight across to Plain Speak with Poonam Burde.
Good evening. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Poonam Burde. In the aftermath of Operation Sindoor, a united opposition stood with the government to send a message to the enemy, to Pakistan. But that seems to be short-lived. Congress is leading the attack on the central government, particularly targeting External Affairs Minister S. Shankar. There are barbs that are being traded, there are memes that are being shared on social media, there's also a defamation suit that is being threatened by the Congress party. It's a Mir Jafar versus Jaychand narrative that seems to be playing out, at least on social media. Add to that the comments that are coming to the fore from leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, or the Congress's chief, Mallikarjun Kharge, or even former Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti. And I'll take you through those comments in just a bit. But the question we want to ask here, and the question that many in India are asking, is that are these leaders giving ammunition to the enemy, to Pakistan, with these kind of comments?